How were everyday objects made before factories and mass production? Before industrial manufacturing took over, entire professions depended on hand skills passed down through generations. In this film, uncovered past documents the traditional craft of wooden shoemaking, showing how clogs were produced by hand, using simple tools and long-practiced techniques. Poplar wood from damp river lowlands provided the essential raw material for wooden shoes. The soft, fast-growing poplar was especially suited for this purpose, as it could be shaped easily without cracking. Trees were felled during winter, cut into sections, and transported using specialized wagons. Winter cutting helped prevent excessive moisture loss and ensured better working quality of the wood. Wooden shoemaking was a long-established rural craft, often practiced for generations within the same families. It required experience, strength, and a trained eye for wood structure. In productive periods before large-scale industrial decline, workshops processed large quantities of poplar each year. Efficient use of material was essential for economic survival. The first working step took place outdoors. Log sections cut to shoe length were split on a chopping block. Using wedges placed according to the wood grain, the block was divided into roughly equal pieces. Each of these pieces would later become a single wooden shoe. Experienced craftsmen could often tell at a glance how many shoes could be obtained from one block. After splitting, bark was removed from the wooden pieces. This revealed the cleaned surface necessary for further shaping. By carving heel and toe areas, the craftsman defined left and right shoes. At this stage, the rough blank already suggested the final proportions of the clog. While most work remained manual, some workshops introduced limited mechanization. Copying machines were used to assist with rough shaping. These machines followed wooden models to ensure consistent sizes. However, they could only handle coarse work and did not replace skilled hand labor. rough blank was clamped into a two-part copying machine. A matching wooden model determined the final outer form of the shoe. As both model and blank rotated together, cutting tools gradually removed excess material. Only light pressure was applied to prevent wear on the model. The copying machine significantly increased daily production capacity. Where once only a few pairs could be made by hand, dozens became possible. Despite this efficiency, the craftsman still worked alone at the machine. Preparation and finishing remained manual tasks, often assisted by family members. After outer shaping, the interior of the shoe was hollowed out. This was done using a drilling machine fitted with a spoon-shaped bit. Model and blank were mounted side by side. A guiding feeler controlled depth and width, ensuring a consistent and wearable footbed. This step required great concentration and steady control. Further refinement took place at the wooden shoe bench. Various hand tools were used to smooth the heel seat, sides, and upper interior. Different knives allowed precise shaping of curves and transitions. Tools had to be sharpened regularly to maintain cutting accuracy. At this stage, sharp edges were trimmed and softened. Upper rims were shaped to improve comfort and appearance. The shoe size was marked directly into the wood. This ensured correct pairing and identification during later steps. Wood shavings produced during carving were reused as fuel. Nothing was wasted in the workshop. Plain, unpainted shoes were worn for daily labor. Decorated versions were reserved for Sundays or special occasions and often featured carved patterns or symbols.
So.
Und was kriegst du da für mich?
Ich krieg 15 Mark.
Ja. Wie kriegst du das? Mama?
Nee, ich hab Mama. Ja. Ich hab mich nicht...
Ich habe noch mal Geld zu tun, ne?
Sicher.
Aber die November komm ich nach Land Svier, ne?
Ja.
Dann würde ich dich noch für gelögt, ne?
Ja.
Und das Junge, ne?
Alles gut.
Ja, alles gut.
Ja.
Tschüss.
Clogs intended for Sundays or special occasions were finished differently from everyday work shoes. They were often painted or enhanced with simple carved patterns, applied after the shaping process was complete. Using small hand tools, craftsmen added floral motifs or symbolic marks reflecting regional traditions and personal style. These decorative steps did not change the function of the shoe, but distinguished practical footwear from ceremonial use. As industrial footwear became widespread, wooden clogs gradually disappeared from everyday labor. What had once been essential workwear for farmers and industrial workers was replaced by factory-made shoes that required less maintenance and offered greater uniformity. The craft did not vanish overnight. For a time, clogs continued to be used in gardens, workshops, and during traditional or folkloric events. Slowly, however, clog making shifted from a living trade to a cultural memory. Today, traditional clog production survives mainly through film records and museum collections. These images preserve the knowledge, tools, and working rhythm of a handcraft shaped entirely by experience and manual skill. If you value historical craftsmanship and disappearing trades, consider subscribing to Uncovered Past for more original archival films and documentary restorations.